So I have my amazing friend Gia here, and we're gonna talk about how to be the CEO of your career. Gia is such a badass, and she is definitely the CEO of her career. She has it handled. She has her stuff together, and so we're gonna talk about what that looks like. What are three? What would we say are three?
Hot
keys.
tips.
Yeah, to being
key
the
things
CEO.
that really that are gonna be the driving forces behind making it for you to drive your own career.
Exactly.
Be your
And
own CEO.
Whether you have a business or a job or you're part of a startup or whatever you are doing, these tips are totally going to be relevant. So I just want to say hi, Rachel. Hi, Nicholas. All right. So what would you say is your number one tip?
Number one tip, sorry. Be curious. Be super curious, because you've got a limited amount of time. Don't believe all those people that say that life is too long and all that stuff. Life is bloody short. We only have 24 hours in a day. You've only got, so many things you can possibly achieve. So be curious about them. Whatever you do end up spending your time on, be curious about it, right?
Can you give us an example of how you were curious?
Definitely. So the last time I think I can remember myself being curious would be when I was looking for an opportunity. I recently changed jobs. I just moved to a new job about a month ago. And deciding about this job, deciding about, wanting to move and all that kind of stuff, the one thing I was like, I need to work at a company that makes me curious about it. So, you know what I'm going to do? They've got my resume in front of them. They've got my LinkedIn. They've got my Facebook. They've got all of this stuff about me. Well, great. I'm going to create something that will tell me all about them too. I'm going to create a profile about them. I researched as much as I could about them from Google, from various sources, and went, you know what? Let's find out what they're about. See if they're worthy of me. And see if my talents are going to be useful. And you know what that did? That did something that was really beneficial to me and to them, which was make it easier for them to believe that I was a good fit for them, and make it easier for me to believe in myself that I could be a fit for them.
And that's great, because you are very specific about the company that you want to work for, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't have to settle, is almost what I'm hearing you're saying, is you want to do the research on whether it's a job that you're applying to, or whether it's like a client that you're thinking about taking on. Is like you want to make sure that this opportunity actually meets your standards. And that's what you were doing. Yeah, it's being curious.
Bringing it back to our dating analogy, if you're going to meet somebody on a date, don't you want to know that they're authentic? Don't you want to look at their Facebook to see if they actually look what they look like on an app? There you go. Same thing with the company. Like, why would you take that risk with somewhere you're going to spend 40 hours a week with, right?
And I agree. So also, same thing with like if you're going to take on a client or like a new consulting gig, is this is a commitment of your time and energy. So you want to also do the research and make sure that it's a good fit for you, which I think some practitioners, sometimes we forget that, because we're like, oh yeah, I just need this client and I just need to get this, this money. So they actually aren't as specific and picky as they can be.
You never know where it's going to lead you. That research will show you something about them. You'd be surprised what you find on the internet these days.
Absolutely.
Find out what, you might find out that they just got a new client, or that they just increased and expanded out to another part of the country. Imagine if you could mention that in an interview and be like, hey, I recently heard that you did that. You're going to stand out compared to all the other candidates.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. So just summary. Yep. That was to be curious. Awesome. So what would you say was number 2 for you?
Number 2 for me is be unafraid to start from scratch.
Okay, awesome. So say a little more about that.
Okay, sure. I'll tell you a little bit about it, but I want her to give us an example, because her example is beautiful. So for me, what that means is that don't be afraid to think that, you know what, my time's gone, or this was a time for it. Like, who cares about milestones? Like, who's counting them, right? Yeah. You go, you know what, I just found out about something. So for instance, I recently found out about machine learning, and it's like artificial intelligence and its impacts on things. Yeah, okay, I didn't do engineering in life. I didn't do engineering in college. But that doesn't stop me from wanting to learn about it, right? That doesn't stop me from trying out a free course online from Stanford University to go, you know what, let's learn a little bit about this. Just because I didn't go do it in college shouldn't stop me, shouldn't limit me, right? Yeah. The only person that's going to limit me is myself. So why don't I just not limit myself?
So you're saying also, like, it's not too late to try to learn something.
It never is. Just feel unafraid to start from scratch.
Exactly.
It's not the only thing that's limiting yourself is you.
Even if you have zero knowledge about something. And so I'll give you an example. I recently have started a new project with, hi there, hi Charles, and hi Ashley. Thanks for joining us. And I recently started a new project where we're going to provide leadership training to startups. So I admit, I don't know anything about startups. And I was like, this is interesting. But I said, you know what? It's never too late to just start and be curious and really start from the ground up, right? Yeah. And it's beautiful.
Give it a go.
Yeah, it's beautiful because it doesn't matter what audience or what niche I'm choosing. It's like, you know, I will always show up the same way. I will always show up with a mission to make a difference for others, to impact others, to really empower people to be successful in whatever they're up to. And so whether it's a startup or whether it's a solo business owner or whether it's someone in a career, they all want the same thing. They want success. They want to make a difference. They want impact. They want, you know, to make money. They want to be happy.
The basics. Everyone wants the basics.
Exactly.
If you get the basics right, then, you know, it's never too late to get the basics right. And to be honest with you, the perspective that you'll be able to provide, the fresh set of eyes, is immeasurable. It's beautiful.
That's another really good point, is because I come from a different background. And so I come with a different background with different set of experiences that I can actually lend to these startup companies where they may be like really business savvy, but they may not have been like as self-aware or in the world of personal development. And that's where my strengths are. So it's really beautiful to be able to kind of lend that different set of eyes.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So then the third tip. Sorry, the second one, let's just recap that.
Yep.
Second one was,
don't be afraid to start from scratch.
Start from scratch. Awesome. So the third tip I would say is ask for what you want. Okay. So I see this as like a problem, really, especially for women. And whether you are, you know, in a career or whether you have a business, a lot of women don't ask for what they want because they actually think it's not possible. So really check yourself and look at, you know, am I not asking for what I want? Am I not setting my standards high enough because maybe I had some disappointment in the past that's actually holding me back, and it's a limiting belief. And so anything is possible. You know, you mentioned a really great example of when men go and look for
this is an example. Yeah, sure. So this is actually from Sheryl Sandberg's book called Lean. We'll put the link at the bottom of this. The book is great in terms of like what it talks about. The one thing that struck me was the fact that if you look at a job description, and maybe you can do this in your own time and tell me, you know, if this is true or not. But you look at a job description as women, what ends up happening is you look at it, there's 6 bullet points on it, and you go, oh, you know what? I only qualify for 3. So, you know what? I'm not going to apply for this job because I only qualify for 3s. You know, not good enough. And you kind of let it go. Men go, they look at the same job description and go, oh my God, I qualify for 3. They'd be lucky to have me. And I'm generalizing. I apologize for generalizing. I don't mean to generalize, but I'm just trying to put it as a point, you know, like, again, the only person that's limiting you is yourself. And don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Let other people do it. There's enough people in this world that are going to limit you. There's enough people in this world that are going to limit you. Don't let yourself be one of the ones that do that too. So, you know,
I love that example because sometimes we feel like we're not good enough for something just because we don't meet the requirements. And again, remember that anything is possible. So if you within yourself decide that you're good enough to ask for what you want, to go for that job, to go for that client, to put yourself out there, then you're going to make it happen. The opportunities will start arising. So
and it may not, even if it doesn't have a direct impact, if it doesn't directly get you what you want, you'd be surprised what's waiting for you in the peripheral. It'll be out there somewhere. Someone will caught you, like someone will catch their eye, or someone will catch your eye, and you never know where it spirals. Just let it. Just let it spiral you.
That's great.
Awesome.
Gia, you're so amazing. Thank you guys, and hi Manuel. Thank you for being on the video, and we'll see you guys again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Okay.